Hello and welcome back to the ministry. This is Taj McCameron. We're on part, I believe this is 5 of the Bodyguard. So we left off, they were all sitting and having dinner. The Father has already given your God ordained spouse wisdom about you and given you wisdom about them. Little details. He may have even given you unknown characteristics about them from their childhood. You may have had a vision, you may have had something, he may have even talked to you about certain things that were going on with them in relation to them being a kid. Because more than likely, it's some stuff that stemmed from childhood wounds that they're dealing with. But with the same token, he's probably done the same thing for your God ordained spouse. So they were sitting there having dinner, which actually in this moment the Lord is bringing my attention to the Last Supper. At the Last Supper, Jesus was sitting around the table with the disciples, and he knew that this was his last dinner. He knew, and he told them, someone at this table is going to betray me. And they all looked around at each other like, no, you don't know, none of us is going to betray you. What do you mean? And Judas was sitting right there. So that's what the Lord gave me. You have to be extremely careful of the people that you are breaking bread with, who you are blessing in this season. You need to be acute to who it is that you are giving to, who you are blessing in this season, because of the fact that there are monitoring spirits, there are siphoning spirits, there are people that are literally positioned there because they know that they need to sit around you and just hold you in place. I believe I talked about this in one of the earlier parts of this. Go back and look at the video from Tiffany Montgomery talking about untying the colt. It's covered by God. It's called Fast Forward. I believe it's Fast Forward. You're an arrow or something, but it starts with Fast Forward. You have to realize that God is preparing to give you momentum to push you forward into the thing that God has called you to do, and you have enemies. I'm being reminded of the scripture. God has opened a great door, but there are many adversaries. There are people literally watching you on this side before you cross over that are seeking to catch you before you get in the door, and there's some on the opposite side just waiting and salivating to see you when you get to the opposite side of this situation. Okay? So be alert, be aware. Don't be out here acting stupid, okay? People are looking to destroy your reputation even before you get to where God's trying to take you. Okay? It is what it is. Frank got up and he looked out the window. He was looking because he sensed movement or something going on outside. You spiritually have the eyes to be able to observe your God ordained spouse's surroundings. And God has given it to you to such a degree that you ain't even in the picture and you were able to observe situations, people, scenarios, persons, places, things that were hindrances to this individual. Okay? And God's giving you words of knowledge and words of wisdom in relation to your God ordained spouse's situation. So you are spiritually observing, looking into these dark areas, and you were able to discern that there's an issue, even though it didn't look like one. From where you are, you can't see what they're going through. from where you are, if you just looked at their social media presence, it probably looked like they was just fine. But God's given you a spiritual wisdom that just like when he looked out that window, it looked like everything was okay, but his extra sensories were on telling him something ready pop off out here. I don't know what it is, but something's up. So after dinner, see this is how I know this is God. I'm gonna need for y'all, there are 3 videos. Actually 2 videos. No, it's 3 videos on this channel that have to do with playing chess. Okay? I'm gonna need you to go look at those. Okay? One has the black chess pieces, I believe. Another one has the white chess pieces, I believe. Then, if you have not gone and seen my Breaking Dawn film review, if you know that you're called to a high profile relationship and or a highly influential relationship, you need to go watch Chess Moves. It's the one with the black background. It's literally the chess move cover from Breaking Dawn Part 1 and 2. Next, I have a podcast on my podcast called Tajma. I believe it's called From God to Me. Journey to God to Me is what it is. So go over and look at the chest move podcast that I did talking about strategic chess moves. We also talked about chess moves in one of the last 2 parts of Now You See Me. And lastly, I believe we talked about chess moves. What was the other place I needed? Was there another place? I think that's all of the chess moves locations. You got to be aware, if God's sending you into anything, he is sending you with wisdom. I'm going to need for you to go and figure out what it is that your chess moves is. But first, you got to seek understanding. I talk about chess moves in 1 to 2 different podcasts on my podcast. You need to be aware. You need to be alert. The enemy ain't playing, okay? He is not playing, not out here, not no more. This ain't no game for him. So, Frank asked Fletcher while they playing the chess game, what move should I make? And he says, move the king to B4 or something like that. And when he moved it, it literally positioned his father in a bad place. The father was like, look, he picked the boy up and put him on his lap and said, no, you gonna help me play this game. Rachel looked at him and said, so how long you been playing this game? He said, 3 years. That speaks volumes. You have to realize you are not in no daggone sprint. You are in a marathon. This is a chess game. You got to be intellectually, mentally understanding what you are walking into. This is not for the weak. This is not for no. You have to be willing to observe. Your God-ordained spouse has wisdom that you do not. And you're going to have to follow his leading, especially if you're called to a high-profile relationship. Okay? Whatever capacity high-profile looks like for you. Are you an influencer? Are they an influencer? Are you or they a community leader? Real estate? Go up the gamut all the way up to celebrity. You know who God has called you to get involved with. You also know that this individual, if they ain't there just yet, they en route. Because God doesn't put together just a kingdom marriage and it's you and Joe Schmo around the corner. You know that. Either you got the position or they got the position. But somebody in your relationship is operating in a level of clout. That's what makes it kingdom. Okay? So she goes upstairs with Frank. Frank takes her to her room, checks the room, then he leaves her for the evening and heads downstairs to check the rest of the house once everybody is gone to bed. When he's downstairs, here comes Judas. Nikki, Rachel's sister, comes out of the dark saying, "Hey, how you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. And he's like, "What are you doing up?" And then she asking him questions and inquiring. Monitoring spirits are going to inquire either you or them. Understand that they want to know why you're there. They want to understand how you got there. They want to understand what in the world you were doing. And they want to understand how in the world they can get in between you and whatever it is that God's trying to make happen. So what the monitoring spirit 9 times out of 10 will do is start asking you random questions. Let me explain something to you about a monitoring spirit, okay? Remember this for the rest of your daggone life. A monitoring spirit knows nothing new. Listen to the questions they are asking you. 9 times out of 10, it's the same question you heard from somebody else. And when I say same question, I mean word for word. And this is how you know it's a monitoring spirit, because only monitoring spirits are going to come at you with the exact same question, same phrase, same word sequence. They're telling themselves every single time. Because the enemy can do nothing new. I've told you guys once before that I was having a conversation with somebody. They wanted to know something about me. They got on the phone with me. It was the same 7-word question. I ignored it the first time. But later that afternoon, within about 6 to 7 hours, another individual that was closer to me, I knew them, they were old church friend of mine, gives me a call. First thing that they ask me is the exact same 7-word question. I talk to them for a few minutes, get off the phone, and I start praying incessantly for the next 20 minutes. That person did not call me back, nor did anyone else. Monitoring spirits know nothing new. Understand it, breathe it in, let it become a part of your weaponry. Pay attention to the way people word things. My coach always tells me that your language is key. It is key. If you can speak your world into existence, if the word literally says that God told Moses to speak to the rock and not hit it, there are many scriptures in the Bible that talks about speaking to that thing, speaking to the dead bones. Speak. Speak. So if speaking is the activator, of course what they're going to use is words, whether it's a word curse against you or it's a statement. But they ain't got enough words. Arm yourself spiritually. Okay? So, Rachel's sister comes downstairs And she started asking questions. And he's avoiding her. He's still trying to lock up things. People will come in as a distraction to you. Hello, ladies, with these counterfeits, these men, you want me to say this now? Might as well. In the name of Jesus. There's this young man, right? And if you've seen my previous video, I'm wearing the exact same thing. A young man, he's been in my vicinity for the past several months. I peeped him when I first saw him at the location that I've been working out of. I ain't paying no attention because not my type, not my caliber, not none of it. No. Definitely need to stop sending me people like this. I mean, really. No. No. It's just a no. Anyway, guy sits around. If I'm not in the space I'm working in, he's sitting there outside. I can see him within a varying distance. It's a long sitting space directly in front of where I sit and work out of. So I can literally look through the glass and see if he's out there. Or if I'm sitting out there, he usually comes and sits somewhere around that area. Okay? I usually don't pay this man any attention. Okay? But I just so happened to notice that this individual kept trying to sit closer and closer and closer and closer and closer and closer to me. Within my eyesight, within my vicinity. And it didn't really bother me until recently. And I keep looking up and he's directly in front of me. What brought my attention to the fact is that he crossed me when I was walking to get into my father's car the other day. He purposely walked directly across me in front of my father's car. When I saw that, I knew, oh, use a monitoring spirit. I get you. I get you. I get you. It's a distraction. Okay? The enemy will activate people around you to have whatever type of interest in you just to distract you. Don't pay attention to them, but understand if you notice them, pray against it, please. Because some may not say nothing to you, but they're watching. Remember, go back and look at my word on temptations. Harley watched that woman for a while before he approached. People operating under narcissistic spirit, when they figure that you peep them out and have discerned, the second they say something or you acknowledge the fact that you done peeped them out, they're going to either verbally attack you or may potentially physically attack you. Don't say nothing. Okay? I'm going to need you to start going into prayer, go into prayer closet, take them into a fast. Okay? God will break that off. And another trick that I have learned, go wash your hair. What? What you mean go wash your hair? Go wash your hair, detangle it, and pray over your head while you're doing it. If you have anointing oil and you pray over your anointing oil, anoint your scalp while you're praying and start breaking those connections. I'm going to tell you, I did that one time. I prayed and broke some connections in the spirit realm. Next time I saw the individual, they darn near cussed me out like I stole something. I was like, what the heck did I do to you? I broke the spiritual connection. That's exactly what I did. So, Nikki comes to Frank and she's like, so you just want one sister when you can have two. She tried to kiss him. I think she actually did kiss him. Your enemies are amongst you. Judas kissed Jesus on the cheek. Okay? Can we stop playing? So the next morning, he's out with his father. Let me sit here for another second. For some of you, there are people that are in association with your golden dating spouse. There are people that are in association with you. When you cross into your marriage with your golden dating spouse, I believe I said this before, there are people that are associated with you, friends, people that are associated, so on and so forth. They may try it. Vice versa. They may be people that are associated with your golden dating spouse. They may try it. They may try it. They may try it. Remain spiritually aware. Understand what you need to do. Start breaking. Start breaking. Start breaking. Start breaking. Start breaking. Please. Okay? Because these individuals, and it's not so much that they up to no good. It's just they see what you've been through, and they haven't actually seen the trial you've been through. They see the blessing, right? They darn near, can we talk about this for a second? They darn near curse you out to your face when you ain't got nothing. But when God dropped that blessing on you, and you walk around here in diamonds, and you walking around here, you got status on you, you looking good, you in the association where God has told you he's placing you, these folks gonna be looking at you sideways. They gonna be word cursing you, and then they gonna be sitting up there. Especially, they ain't gonna word curse you right away. They gonna see if they can come hang out. Yo, you over there? You on the? You on the? You can I come? Can I come to lunch with you? And the second you say no, you can't come to lunch with me. No, you can't be hanging out with. No. That's when they want to start word cursing you and saying that you slept your way to the top and all kinds of blah 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 blah. All because they don't want to work to get to that position that you went through blood, sweat, up at night, fasting, praying, seeking God for where he wants you to be, praying into those places and spaces, praying, sowing, consecrating, doing it again and again and again. You done did it so much that the Lord done said you can stop now. I got you. You good. But nah, they want to go hang with you now that you done got these spiritual things aligned, and now they're like, I wanna, can I come rub shoulders with you and the people that you hang out with now? No. Was you in the trenches with me when I was sitting on the floor at 3:00 in the morning on my knees praying? Was you in that place that I was in when the Lord sent me away for 4 years? Laid out on the floor some nights, seeing every kind of demonic activity I could see in my training ground. Was you there? No, you wasn't there, and if you had been there, you'd have left 15 times. No, I stuck with it, I stuck through it, and I stayed until God said I could go. So if you wasn't there, don't think that you can sit up there and come in when I get to the beautiful part. Because see, you think it ain't worth all that. I got to do all that. Yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. Ask me how I know. Okay? Anyway, so from that point on, he's talking with his dad the next day. Some of your God-ordained spouses are in intense conversation with the Father. You have been in intense conversation with the Father because you must receive instructions in order to know what to do next at this point. Okay? In order to know how to prepare to come out of your isolation and so on and so forth. So, Fletcher, her son, seemingly is not around. They sitting there singing Christian hymns. Worship is the best warfare that you can ever pray, especially during certain seasons, especially when you've already gotten a victory. Worship is your main weapon. It protects you, and it can actually prevent certain things from transpiring to a degree that is too big for you at this particular point in time. Okay, so what ends up happening is he comes into discernment. They were worshiping. He takes off running because he comes to recognition. In your worship, you may be given wisdom as to a certain attack that's coming against you. In your praying in tongues. And if you're real good, you know how to sing in tongues. I do it every once in a while. I don't do it often. I don't think about doing it often, to be honest with you. But it breaks certain things in the spirit realm and gives you clarity and revelation. He takes off running, comes to find Fletcher sitting on the boat, trying to take the boat out on the water without no parental viewpoint. Okay? He jumps off the pier, tackles Fletcher, knocks him in the water, and then drags him to the dock. Everybody come running to the dock. He puts Fletcher up on the dock. They help Fletcher. Rachel turns to him and says, "What in the world are you doing? You realize you could have killed him?" They screaming, hollering, and all this kind of stuff. I need you to pay very close attention right here, right now. There is a specific type of attack that the enemy uses in order to set you up, okay? Make you look like you're the enemy, okay? But it's all to discredit your words, to characterly assassinate you, and to destroy your reputation. I previously put this link on a previous video. I'm going to move it and put it on this one because I now see it's necessary to go here. Prophetic Poetry did a video talking about reputation. There is a desire to destroy your reputation and make you defend your actions. He would have had to defend his actions once he got himself together because they looking at him, "You darn near killed this boy. What in the world is wrong with you?" The enemy will put you in situations to make you look like you lied, you stole, you did this, you did. I can't tell you how many daggone times the enemy set me up like this. It is at least 2 to 3. I'm wise to it just about right now. Person sat up there and accused me before everybody in my church. Thankfully, it was a morning service and it was only a straggling few people left. And it was only the handful of pastors. But the pastors were spiritually wise enough to know that I was being set up. Because they knew me! So, when this person started going off, screaming about all these types of character issues and all this types of foolishness, I'm looking at this woman like, I know you done lost your daggone mind. Because all I had ever done was help her. I went to her house and I organized everything in her home for her. Because she was an older woman and she couldn't really move around and do all that. I went in there and I helped organize it so that she had enough space in her space that she would be able to walk around and maneuver in a better way. Got everything in order and then I left. A couple days later, she comes in accusing me of having stole everything in her apartment. I'm like, are you? Hadn't been in her apartment, hadn't been near her apartment. Matter of factly, I was in a consecration the whole time before the Lord, so I wasn't nowhere near it. Could nobody find me? But oh, she made a to-do in front of everybody. Let me explain to you. The enemy will set you up to make you look like you done did something, but then there will be justification. You won't even have to say anything. Frank didn't have to say not one word because when he was about to explain himself, the boat that the boy had just been on blew up. So it actually showed that he saved that child. Pause. This is what I got to tell you. Be prepared for the fact that there are certain things that you're going to see, notice, and understand in the spirit realm that are going to take a certain amount of time to manifest in the reality of everything, that you're going to be able to see danger before it actually happens. So when you see it, you're going to try to tell people that's a danger issue. Don't do that. That's not going to be a good idea. Blah, 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 blah. People aren't going to understand until it manifests. It could take 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. It's going to happen. It's going to maybe a momentary delay, but they're going to see, ooh, she was right. He was right. God knows what he's doing. So I'm going to end this one here and I'm going to come back for the next part.